Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Triangles Meditation Group webinar. Today is March 11th, 2024. And our theme for our meeting and our discussion today is the end approaches the beginning. So why don't we, as we usually do, take a brief moment of silence in order to link with our group here today and with all Triangles members throughout the world and sound together the invocation of light. Radiance we are and power. We stand forever with our hands stretched out, linking the heavens and the earth, the inner world of meaning and the subtle world of glamour. We reach into the light and bring it down to meet the need. We reach into the silent place and bring from thence the gift of understanding. Thus with the light we work and turn the darkness into day. So that mantra, in a way, sums up the work of Triangles, a service activity which is undertaken each day by thousands of people throughout the world. 3 people link together in thought and distribute the energies of light, love, and power by connecting with the entire planetary network of all those other people who are also working in this network. And then as the network is visualized surrounding the planet, the great invocation is sounded, a world prayer through which these energies are distributed through the etheric body of the planet and are able to be received by all those with open hearts and minds. So the work only takes a few minutes each day, and it can be fit into even the busiest of schedules. And as our mantra states, through this means, light can radiate the world and bring a lessening of the darkness. So we encourage all of you who are not yet members of Triangles. If you think you would like to become a member, please place your name in the chat box. And any of the rest of you who might already be a member of a Triangle, please also feel free to reach out to form new Triangles. Or the webinar is one of the means whereby we can increase the numbers of people participating in this work. So after our visualization today, we will have the opportunity to hear from 2 guests, recurring presenters on the webinar. Dot Maver, who most of you know is with Wendy Thompson, the focalizer for the Global Silent Minute, and also Alexander Ilchuk, who will also be here, and he focalizes the 2025 initiative. So we look forward to hearing from both of them. So our theme that the end approaches the beginning is a line that's taken from an ancient mantra. It's a phrase that can have varied applications that are reflective of those critical turning points in the long trajectory of evolutionary development. These are the times when the past and the future come together through the medium of the bridging agents who stand at any particular plane of development. This place where endings and beginnings merge and blend is sometimes called the no man's land. It's a place out of time and space, a place where changes are wrought and an eventual new direction is found. It's a place, we might say, of the soul, the middle principle. And today, the collective of humanity as a whole, as well as the new group of world servers, and the planet itself, are passing through these major transition periods within their different cycles of development, each reflecting a type of no man's land in which they find themselves. And all of these minor transitions are overshadowed by a transition occurring within the vast cycles of the great zodiacal wheels. Hence the challenge and the opportunity of this time. Standing within this middle ground at no matter what level subjects one to an intensification of fire. All around us today in the outer world, we see these fires raging, often out of control. The past and those who cleave to it stand in sharp contrast to those who are forging into the future. The challenge for the new groups is to provide that bridging work through which the center can be found between the pairs of opposites. Through this means, the group focalizes and becomes the vehicle for another type of fire, one that purifies and transmutes the many conflicting forces through the influx of the fire of spirit. The Tibetan calls this type of inflow the avataric force. These are energies that emanate from outside our system, from great beings who are said to be hovering over the Christ, aiding in the preparatory work for the externalization. It's said that the hierarchy is depending upon the discipleship group to become agents of this fire, thereby preparing humanity for the coming events. Although the long-established thought forms of the Piscean Savior as one who comes forth to usher in a world of peace and harmony is held within the hearts of many today, it's said, in fact, that the coming avatar brings in the fire. This is the fire which burns and destroys all barriers in man's nature, all separating walls between individuals, between groups, and between nations. And we're asked if we are prepared to submit ourselves to this fire. We can all ask ourselves that question and be willing to accept the results of the choices we make. During these transition times when the law is withering and there is an uprising of lawlessness on all sides, many people are hard-pressed to hold to the vision of a better world. The challenge of life in the three worlds are all engrossing. For many, these are cold and barren times when little light seems apparent. Such times are, however, periods for reflection, for the cultivation of the soil and the planting of seeds. And through our work together in such service activities as triangles, we can fan those flames. Then, that which is hidden deep within the darkness of the outer world, the seeds and tiny buds will begin to germinate, and new life will flower forth. Then, despite the outer challenges, or perhaps because of them, people will be encouraged to cultivate a spirit of expectancy, the expectation for a coming revelation. During the past 60 years of the stage of the Forerunner, humanity has been subject to an intensification of the light, which is reaching its zenith now as we move towards 2025. As a result of this light, the barriers that have long separated the known or material world from the subjective world of reality are breaking down, expanding human consciousness, creating greater receptivity to the unknown. And of this time, the Tibetan wrote, I challenge you above all to a deeper life, and I implore you, for the sake of your fellow men, to strengthen your contact with your own soul, so that you will have done your share in making revelation possible, so that you will have served your part in bringing in the light, and will therefore be in a position to take advantage of that new light and new information, and so be better able to point the way and clear the path for the bewildered seeker at that time. Those who are not ready for the coming events will be blinded by the emerging light and bewildered by the revealing wonder. They will be swept by the living breath of God, and it is to you that we look to fit them for that event. So now, let's work with our visualization, the reflection on the great invocation. Let's link in light together as souls, as a group soul, as a point of love and light, seeing our group as linked with all other people throughout the world who are part of this triangles network. And visualize now the world situation as best you can, and see people everywhere glowing with a dim light, and here and there points of brighter light, where men and women of spiritual intention and of loving hearts are working for their fellow human beings. Now visualize through the creative imagination the vivid light of the spiritual kingdom streaming towards humanity, slowly merging with the light that is already in humanity. Visualizing that outpouring of light, we sound together the first stanza of the great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth. Now let's ponder on the reappearance of the coming world teacher realizing that no matter by what name he may be called in the many world religions, he's still the same great identity. Reflect and speculate upon the positive results of his appearance. Now visualizing an outpouring of love, sound together the second stanza of the Great Invocation. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into human hearts. May the coming one return to earth. And now endeavor to concentrate your fixed intention to serve and to spread love in your surroundings. And realize that insofar as you can do these things, you're attempting to blend your personal will with the divine will. Visualizing these energies pouring out in your environment and in the world, sound together the third stanza of the Great Invocation. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the masters know and serve. Sounding the Om, we'll dedicate the threefold group personality to the working out of the divine plan on earth. Thank you, everyone. And now I will ask Dot to unmute her microphone. Hello, Dot. Welcome.
Yes. Thank you, Kathy. So our theme today, the end approaches the beginning. And let's start by sharing 3 things. The first, thank you, Kathy and Lucis Trust. Over these many years, this rhythm, 7th ray rhythm with triangles, is very significant. And after all these years of triangles meeting every week, it's now like an electric surge every Monday at 3 p.m. New York. And we know that etheric activity is key in this new era. And the etheric body of the planet is where our triangles network exists. So it seems we face a significant opportunity in this 3-year cycle, 2024, 25, 26, as we continue to activate the Triangles Network and offer it in service. So maintaining our weekly subjective rhythm is significant and provides a vessel or vehicle, or might I say chalice, for hierarchy to utilize. So thank you for providing that. The second thing, our theme today, the end approaches the beginning. So many cycles are changing at the same time right now. And actually, Kathy, I'm hoping you will speak to the fact that every outer planet is presently in the final degrees of their respective signs, and this shift into their next sign is happening for all of them during this 3-year cycle. And a major shift that we are here to assist with is the end of the Piscean age, the beginning of the Aquarian age. And we know we're in that transition, the latter phase of that transition right now. And we are preparing for the reappearance of the Christ. So as we work within our triangles and the unitive etheric network of triangles, let us be mindful that there really is a continuum, regardless of outer seeming and separative attitudes. In fact, when we focus on life and life sharing and identification with the whole, we help anchor the revelation and realization of oneness and the continuity of life as it spirals through various cycles. So the new, the beginning, is already here, and our network helps precipitate it with a focus on purpose, leading to plan and action, serving, as Kathy said, as a bridging agent. And third, each triangle, I love the symbol of the triangle with the point. So each in the center, each triangle has a center point where we find the Christ, wherever 2 or more are gathered. And we're poised to assist with the realization of right human relations as a practical, wise, loving way of living together on this planet. Basically, we're standing at a midway point between past and future, between spirit and matter, and we're being assisted to free ourselves from the forms and structures that are no longer capable of making revelation in a new time. So they're not bad. Their use-by date is up. Triangle serves, right? Triangle serves to assist this realization in a unified field that offers a point of entry for the incoming Aquarian energies. So I'll just say we're moving from the old operating system beyond separation to the revelation and realization of oneness, and it's a new co-operating system. No, thank you. It's good to be in conversation.
Thank you, Dot. Not sure if Sasha's here. Alexander. Okay. Hi, Alexander. Welcome.
Thank you, Kathy, and greetings to everyone.
And you're going to share a few thoughts with us on this ending of the stage of the Forerunner. So take it away.
Thank you. Well, we all know about the stage of the Forerunner, which ends in 2025. And the Forerunner is the new group of world service, the same way as John the Baptist was preparing the way for Christ 2000 years ago, the same way the world group acting now. And so it's us. And so considering what we as members of the new group of world service bring to the altar of the 2025, I want to share with you a quote that really inspired me and made to reflect on, sorry, it's a wrong slide, reflect on what is actually our role at this time of the final year of the Forerunner. Can you see my slide, Kathy?
Yes, but can you make it full screen?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So this is from the Race and Initiations, page 368. The Ajna center of the Lord of the world is just beginning to express itself in a recognizable manner through the new group of world servers. This intermediate group between the hierarchy and humanity is a carrier of the energy which makes the plan possible, the plan of which the hierarchy is the custodian. This plan implements the purpose, and later, when the new group of world servers is organized and is recognized as a living organism, it will definitely receive energy from Shambhala in a direct reception via the hierarchy. So I suggest us to consider the meaning of these words. What does it mean to be recognized as a living organism? My hypothesis and the hypothesis that our group, the 2025 Initiative Coordination Group, working with, is that at this time and in the last 10 years especially, the world group coming closer and closer to this stage of realization itself as a living organism. We start functioning as a world group holding our connectivity. And in a way, we can see this as a continuation of the work of the triangles, where individuals form a triangle empowering the etheric network of light on the planet. The same role different groups that work with the purpose of advancing humanity and who recognize themselves as part of the new group of world service, they can consciously build lines of connectivity between themselves, bringing the recognition and reality of the world group as a living organism into manifestation. I want to share with you an experiment that 5 groups undertook last year during the Leo Solar Festival, also known as Sirius Festival. That time, those groups, of which like I was one of those groups, I was a part, and that as well. We were those groups gathered on the physical plane for a retreat and to work with the energy of this full moon, as many of us do. And what was different that time, that's while each group was following own program of action and following own meditation, we agreed to hold conscious telepathic connection between our groups, and therefore working in a geometrical order, we can say, as a star during that 5 days period. And an effect of that was quite amazing. That's all participating groups noted that expansion of the group consciousness and recognition of our actual etheric connectivity, while each of our groups will gather, anchoring the energy in the physical plane. This year, as Kathy mentioned and as Dot mentioned, is a very special year for various reasons. And I would say, first of all, because this is the final year before the end of the stage of the Forerunner. And this is time when we are actually, as members of the new group of observers, are called to come into alignment within the world group, recognizing ourselves being part of the living organism. That next year we could stand together with in a great alignment, the same as every year during the Vesak festival. Hierarchy and disciples gather behind the Christ in geometrical order, receiving the impulse coming via Buddha from Shambhala. The same way we would stand together next year in geometrical alignment, mediating between humanity and the hierarchy. And so I'm inviting us to consider on the practical level, how we can form lines of connectivity between different groups. Maybe some of us already have those working functional relations with other groups. A beautiful example of that, the Global Silent Minute, that's been focalized by 3 groups since its inception in 2019. And deep gratitude to those 3 groups. The Heal group in New Hampshire, the Sydney Goodwill group, and the Signal group in Sunshine Coast, Australia. It's a great example of those horizontal connection. And so I invite us to use this time that left before the 2025 to strengthen our connection between our groups. And more specifically, I invite us to use the opportunity of the coming Leo Festival and to continue the experiment that I mentioned to you before, aligning physically gathered groups in telepathic connectivity, and thus strengthening our etheric lines of connection and anchoring the fact of the new group of all service through etheric onto physical level.
Thank you so much, Sasha, Alexander. Let's see, back to my screen. Dot, I wanted to now open it up to, just a more collective discussion, which will extend to all of the people who are participating in this webinar. Dot, I wondered what you see manifesting in the world that speaks to this theme of endings and beginnings, perhaps in a little more detail. Now, you work, I know, with many different groups and have been a longtime student of the Ageless Wisdom, so you have your fingers on the pulse of the network as a whole. And I just wondered if you have any additional thoughts to share.
Yeah, thanks, Kathy. I'd love to. And Alexander, thank you for naming the intergroup and inviting participation from all of us, and certainly from the Triangles Network. And the Global Silent Minute is a triangle of groups working with groups. And it seems that that's a great geometrical pattern. I mean, ultimately, we'll all make dodecahedrons everywhere. It's so powerful. That's the symbol of the mother of the world. So yeah. So, Kathy, you spoke to how challenging it is to hold the vision for a better world. And I love that you call on all of us in triangles for the network to fan the seeds so new life flowers forth. So may we indeed exhibit a spirit of expectancy, because the truth is we've already given birth to a lot. And
Yeah.
we talk about the new group of world servers and this Uranus conjunct Jupiter in Taurus that we're all aware of now virtually. So we're recognizing ourselves as one unified world group, and through which we serve in our respective areas. But the Aquarian principles are definitively emerging for everybody to see. And for example, sharing. And we're ending the separative model of competition, and we are beginning to serve through a cooperative model of sharing around the world. And I just want to give a few examples. Thanks for inviting that. So The Waterman is one of my favorite little documentaries in waterstories.com. And a number of world servers have taken on the specific shared responsibility of bringing back regions around the world with a combination of planting trees and recognizing the flora and seeding, as you spoke to, Kathy. Very practical. And The Waterman tells a gorgeous story in India and now regionally beyond that of the combination of communities coming together around common purpose in order to have all needs be met on various levels, right? We know there are core needs for each one of us and for communities as a whole. Well, the crime rates are dropping. There's just so many good things that are happening. We're beginning to see an Aquarian way of life emerge through this cooperative shared regional bringing back water, basically. And then Unity Earth, unity.earth, is a global network of individuals and groups seeking to build a world that works for all of life through purpose in action. And I would highly encourage us to take a look at that, because in every area you will see groups working with the Aquarian principles in business, in healthcare, in social justice, everywhere. And then codes.earth, CODES.earth, eco-governance. They're about to actually reveal this way of being together where it's about all over the world in every area of life. And they're in ways that sharing is paramount. Kindness is paramount, but in practical, very practical ways, sustaining the bees on the planet, for example, is one of the areas. And their tagline is love and wisdom in action for the health and vitality of the planet and all its inhabitants. And again, that's codes.earth. And you can do a /eco-governance, but just do codes.earth and it'll get you there. And then Standing Together is growing stronger. That's a grassroots movement that is mobilizing Jewish and Palestinian citizens of Israel in pursuit of peace and equality, social and climate justice. And they recognize that while the minority who benefit from the status quo, and we all know what that is right now, actually it serves them to keep the majority divided. These folks understand, and a lot of young people understand, that we, the majority, this is what they say, have far more in common than that which sets us apart. So we are realizing our unity through diversity, which is becoming our lived experience in sociopolitically around the world. We're not seeing it yet like big time, but it is there. And then regeneration.org. That's Paul Hawkins, author of Blessed, Rest, and Drawdown. And he says, well, they say, we are a team endeavoring to create a comprehensive list of solutions and challenges connected to addressing the climate emergency and regenerating planetary ecosystems. So as all these Aquarian energies flow through us, once again, triangles plays a significant role because we're already intentionally in the etheric body of the planet. And we know that the physical is not a principle, so the action happens in the etheric. So our thoughts are important. And as you call us to, Kathy, if we can hold that vision and like true hope, Joanna Macy says, hope is not for any particular thing or an attachment to an outcome you desire. It's an openness toward what you don't even have the capacity to think about yet because you're still in the present. Hope is a radical openness to what can be. And I would suggest we know what will be so long as we maintain that intention and offer ourselves as we are. So thank you for the question.
Thank you for the answer and for the sharing of all of the experience that you have in the world. You're an example of in the world, but not of the world. And that's a shining light for us all. I do think that it's true that we don't really know what the plan's working out, how it will manifest. And so therefore it is good to always keep an open mind and to not have an agenda of how we or our group want to see that plan materialize, and instead just remain open to the wonders, because it will certainly be far greater and visionary than we can really imagine. So, Sasha, Alexander, do you have anything that you would like to add or contribute to this idea of endings, beginnings, the bridging work of the groups that stand between the pairs of opposites in this challenging time in world history?
Yes. Dot mentioned this 3 years ahead of us, and we all anticipated it will be a very hard time for humanity and for us as world service to hold our position, mediating between the hierarchy and humanity. I always get inspired hearing of those examples that Dot just shared, of those multiple groups that emerge around the world that are united by the purpose of serving humanity. I would encourage us to consider the potency of the knowledge that we as esoteric students have and how we can transfer that knowledge to non-esoteric world service, and preferably in a language that's common language without special words that's mean little to those who didn't read the blue books. And particularly the knowledge such as the knowledge of the cycles and the beneficent opportunity of the cycles. And I'm talking specifically about the Festival Week of Impact that happens every 7 years, or also known as the Festival of the New Group of World Servers. The last festival happened in December 2019, and the next one will happen in December 2026. And those of you who had opportunity to meditate during the festival week, you know from your direct experience the power of the meditation. It's like tenfold power to compare to regular meditation during the full moon. I would dare to say. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but very little bit. Maybe not tenfold, but ninefold. And that's the very special opportunity for the world group to get impulse for its service work for the next cycle of the 7 years. I've been observing constant expansion of the work of the esoteric groups who use the opportunity of festival weeks every 7 years, and how their work actually goes to the next level after each festival week. And so, considering that the next festival week of 2026, I really hold the vision of the multiple like groups around the world, non-esoteric groups, using the opportunity of that moment of that festival week of impact to have their own conferences, to have their own workshops, to have their own retreats, planning their work for the next 7 years, and meditating their causes in the light of that special energy. Can you imagine the boost that the world group, the entire world group, can get from such stimulation? So please think about it. And I invite us to use these 3 years ahead of the festival week of 26 to prepare for that and spread the word about this opportunity and many others like full moons, but also talking about the fact of unity, this subjective unity that is so clear for us as esoteric students, but not so obvious to people who work on the front line helping regular people, humanity out there in the world. Let's talk about it, that we are all united in the subjective level, and that unity of purpose is what holds us together. And that's real power. That the group start self-recognizing itself as a living organism.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, beautiful. And yeah, wow, take a deep breath to integrate all of that. And Kathy, hoping there's time, are there any astrological indicators that appear to reflect this idea of endings and beginnings?
Well, yeah, we just have a minute, but yeah, like you mentioned, there is an ancient teaching that when planets move through the last degrees of their respective signs, that it's always a time of endings, really, a time of challenge, considerable challenge. And so we do have, as you mentioned, the outer planets of Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto between now and 2026, going through the final degrees of each of their signs. And therefore, we can clearly see that the heavens are cooperating in the needed destruction, we might say, of some of the old energies, and they're trickled down to some of the old forms that have perhaps stood in the way of our ability and opportunity to move into the new cycle, to clear the decks perhaps before 2025 and 2026. So yeah, that's really all I could say at this moment, but we can just hold on to our horses, as we say, and go along with the ride and know that it's a temporary period of disruption prior to a new building cycle that starts in 2025, which is symbolically the Aries point of the century. You know, the century can be divided up as a spiritual year, And so we're now going through the last vestiges of the sign of death and endings, the Piscean period, a time of great spiritual inpouring in the inner planes. And now we'll move outward in Aries, in that 2025 Aries point, with a new burst of life and light. And so the dawning is coming. We just have to be patient and doing what we can to shed that light abroad through the channel that the group is holding. So let's now work together in our closing meditations. All right. Working with the theme of energizing the planetary network of triangles. Let's come together as a group unity on the mental plane. Identify as a soul with the world group functioning through the three planetary centers of London, Geneva, and New York as a triangle of light. And we extend this identification through the soul to the new group of world servers, to the hierarchy, and to the Christ, who stands as the transcendent point of synthesis at the center of every triangle. And we extend the alignment to the triangles of energy standing behind the Christ. When we identify the center Shambhala, the center of purpose and power. Now we recognize the synthesis of three streams of cosmic energy within Shambhala, where the will of God is known. And we use the dedication. In the center of the will of God, I stand. Naught shall deflect my will from His. I implement that will by love. I turn towards the field of service. I, the triangle divine, work out that will within the square and serve my fellow men. Now visualize a network of lighted triangles underlying the entire outer world of physical life and events. See the network linking all triangle units and relating all points of light throughout the world. Relating the world of spiritual realities, the hierarchy, to the world of experience, humanity, and acting as a channel of distribution within humanity for the spiritual energies pouring through the hierarchy. And now see the network transforming the planetary etheric vehicle to receive and circulate the energies of the soul and the triad, the energies of will, love, and light. Realize that the energies of light, love, and the will to good, evoked by all triangles workers, pulsating through the planetary network of triangles, are having an inevitable effect within the three worlds, mental, emotional, and etheric, of human evolution, lifting human consciousness and helping to create the path of light for the feet of the Christ. Reflect on the purpose, function, and right development of the triangles network as a hierarchical activity. blended with the group, stand with positive intent as a station of radiant light within the network of light and goodwill. Sound the adapted great invocation, directing the triple energies through the triangles network and throughout the consciousness of humanity. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into human hearts. May the coming one return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you to our guests, Dot and Alexander. And just as a reminder, the Arcane School Conference in New York and in London and Geneva is coming up. In New York, we'll be meeting on the 20th and 21st of April. And we do, as Steve Nation did on Friday, encourage you to make an investment in this conference on this important theme related to the coming one and the reappearance. It would be wonderful to see many of you here present with us. So thank you and have a great night.